Okay. I don't even expect for anybody to be on this late, but I'm working late. So I decided to just drop this video. And if you catch it on the replay, awesome. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. You know, this eviction moratorium expiring, the writing was on the wall. If you were a logical person, if you were a person who pays attention remotely to anything, you saw this kind of coming. So, Moody's reports that about 6 million individuals are going to be evicted when this moratorium expires, right? And obviously, you got the Democrats, with their little black faces, Cory Bush and a couple of others, they looking crazy, right? Because now they're trying to justify, helping these individuals who are about to be evicted. Now, here's the thing, the government has given out a lot of free money. A lot of people have opted not to even go to work because of the money making with unemployment. And what I don't understand is for a lot of scenarios, people who are collecting unemployment were actually making more with the federal and state aid than they were in their normal jobs. How are these people about to be evicted? Were these people not thinking that it's maybe to not only just sit back and do nothing, but at least pay your bills, pay your rent? I mean, you think about it. If you're making more money than you would have made on your normal salary, because when all is said and done, a lot of people are making around $50,000 a year, which for some people that could be a big come up. You know what I mean? Um, so you're making about $50,000 a year, so more income, and yet you are paying your bills. You're not paying your bills. Now my Wi-Fi is completely fine. Now I made this point last year, and hopefully this is not tripping out. Let me check my mic because sometimes StreamYard they tag team a bitch on that stuff when I'm on my real talk. But I mentioned this last year. A lot of people sitting comfortable. I'm like, this is the time to get a new skill. Don't just sit on your ass at home. Acquire a new, make yourself more marketable, right? I harped on this. A lot of people sitting comfortable, thinking they chilling. I don't know what part of it's not the government's job to take care of it. Don't a lot of people process. But here, about 6 million people are, according to Moody's data, who are scheduled to lose their home. They're going to have to find alternative plans because they will be accountable for the money that they were supposed to be paying in rent. Now, I don't know all of these 6 million people's circumstance, but I can imagine that if most of these people were collecting unemployment in some form, they were getting more than perhaps their normal salary. So a lot of these people don't have an excuse. And when you boil it down, the eviction moratorium for COVID, that made sense. But after things started opening up, a lot of opted to open up their economy against the federal government's propaganda because they wanted to get their people back going. So states they cut the unemployment, so their unemployment numbers went down because they opted out of the federal benefit, which forced a lot of their people to have to get back to work and get back to the business of taking care of themselves. So 6 million people now are at risk of losing their home, and you got Democrats using their female talking faces, their black Cory Bush, and all the other little ones, and they're talking about women and children. And it's like, look, I'm a mother, I have children, and I have always prioritized my children before myself. I don't care what I wanted to do. My children first. The bills I had to pay to make sure I secured a roof over our heads always came first. And so here we are. A lot of people, excuse me, have gotten federal funds, state funds to stay at home, and yet here they are doing nothing, not acquiring a skill, not making themselves better in some kind of way. And now they're facing homelessness. And we're supposed to feel bad for these people. We're supposed to feel bad because they've been having the time of their lives, chilling, sitting back, doing whatever they do, and not prioritizing making sure that they keep their landlord in the loop and that they're paying them with whatever income for good faith. See, we don't live in a good faith society. We live in this entitled society. And then when the shit hits the fan, like right now, y'all put y'all faith in, a lot of y'all put y'all faith in Joe Biden thinking they're going to take care of us. And here y'all are dealing with possible eviction. And now federal government is saying, go look at your state for help and aid. So I just wanted to make this point. Why weren't people paying bills during this whole time? Like, to me, it is illogical for people to think that they are not going to have to owe money. And it's like, and you can't say you're not clear on what the eviction moratorium was, right? The money that you weren't paying was still going to be accrued because you were still occupying that property as a renter. Basically, what they were doing was deferring your payments, basically allowing you to have deferred payments, but that stuff was accruing. And I don't understand why people were not intelligent enough to care that that was going to be accruing. You were possibly going to be losing your home, and you still owe that money. You still owe that money. That landlord can definitely go after you, your wages, your future wages, because you owe them. And this is where a lot of people, and I'm not going to put a race on this, because this is a lot of people with this issue, they need better money habits. They need a better money psychology. You know, if you don't own your house and you rent somebody else, you need to make sure that they are paid first, because at the end of the day, it is not their job to give a fuck about you and your feelings or your situation. That's not how business works, especially when you are neglecting your responsibilities. So, I can't really say that I feel for all of these people. I don't know what each and every circumstance is, but if you are one of those people who have been sitting on your ass, not collecting, not acquiring a new skill, going into a new field, you just sitting back collecting unemployment, the government check, I feel very sorry for you, and hopefully you at least had a plan B for when it possibly was going to be shut down, where they were going to, where the moratorium was going to expire and you were going to have to pay up. So hopefully some of you people had a plan, even if you were going to move in with somebody, after you done held down your own, whatever your plan is. Hopefully some people have plans, because like I said, if you're collecting unemployment this whole damn time, you should not be getting evicted from nobody's property, because a lot of people were making more money than their normal wages working. So you actually have money to pay your bills and have expendable cash. So if you were not taking care of business and paying your bills, I'm sorry for you. Hopefully this is a learning curve for you, that the federal government is not obligated to take care of you, and that if you really want to survive, you need to learn how to fish. There is a saying, you could teach a man to fish, right? And what is it? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. That's basically what's happened to like 6 million people right now. They've been given a fish, right? They eat for a day, right? But a lot of these people have not taken the time, all of this quarantine time, to learn a new skill, acquire a new area where you sustain yourself. You know, it's like when I got, when the pandemic hit, it was funny. I was working in the automotive sector and I knew that it was not going to sustain. It's like I was looking at the quarterly briefing at the company I was at. I'm like, oh, I know y'all not about to swim. So I made a move into the financial sector because I'm pretty sure they're going to be straight. So I took federal and state licenses to become a financial advisor. And that was a journey going through quarantine, kids working from home, kids doing homeschool. It was a nightmare, but I got through it. And that's just to say that I made the most of the expendable time that I had, right? And now I'm working in the financial sector. What's up, Richard? I'm making a point to some of these people because the eviction moratorium expired. And what I don't understand is how we have 6 million people who are facing eviction, possibly more, but yet the federal and state government has given out a lot of money in unemployment benefits. A lot of people who were collecting unemployment were actually making more on unemployment than they were on their regular jobs and getting their regular wages. So what is nonsensical to me is the fact that, these 6 million people who are facing eviction right now, how they are facing eviction in the first damn place if they are part of that unemployment group, because most of these people should have had enough money to not only take care of their bills and obligations, but also have expendable cash because they have more income on unemployment. So I hate to be stoic about this, but I don't feel sorry for people who are eviction who opted not to pay their bills, because I feel like that moratorium was really very clear. It wasn't like you don't have to pay rent. It's basically saying that you don't have to pay rent right now, but it's going to accrue. Your rent's going to be deferred. And not only would you face an eviction if you don't continuously figure out your job, your rent. Now here's the thing: my homegirl had 3 jobs during quarantine. My sister had 3 jobs during quarantine. What's up, Mr. G? I'm talking about some of these entitled ass American people who are crying about eviction moratorium being expired, and many of these people were making more on unemployment than their normal jobs. You know what I mean? A lot of people have been riding on unemployment, right? Opting to get a job, right? And my thing is, if you're making more on unemployment than your normal, what has prevented you from paying your bills? The fact that an eviction moratorium exists, like, how nonsensical is that? For you just to say, oh, well, they're saying we don't have to pay our rent, so I don't got to pay you nothing. And probably a lot of these trifling ass people were ignorant to their landlords too. And this is what people don't understand too. It's like evictions, they you, okay? They follow you. Most landlords are getting tighter and tighter on the tenants that they bring into their property just because of scenarios like this, where my tenant, the government could pop out a moratorium and my tenant won't even have good faith. You know what I mean? When you don't own something and somebody renting it to you, they're having good faith that whatever situation you run into, that you're transparent and that you guys are working together. It's like I never once missed a payment but I haven't gotten, I got furloughed for all of a month, but I already secured an offer before I got furloughed because I saw what it was. Like, shoot, when you looking at the writing on the wall and your third eye is just wide open, and you like, oh shit, okay, switch, because I don't know if I'm going to have to get furloughed and not be working for a minute. And I'm sorry, I make more than unemployment. I couldn't even sustain off of unemployment if I wanted to because my salary is more than that. I could not sustain off of that. So I'm like, shoot, I have to make a move. So I moved over and I actually was able to increase my salary. So not only was I able to stay afloat, get licensed, I was able to make more money during quarantine just by making decisions, right? Looking at what's happening around you and planning decisions. You can't respond to every unforeseen happens, but you can. Let me make sure I got the mic because I see my internet full here, but their little stream thing is saying that's not. But people need to start getting smarter about just how they're at the world around them, because a lot of people are being very reactive, right? Being very reactive in the moment, right? So again, I don't feel sorry for a lot of people who are facing eviction if they were on unemployment. Maybe that's being a bit stoic. I don't care. It's like people need to start being accountable for the things and the things that they do and don't do, and the decisions that they make and don't make. You know what I mean? And so it's going to be interesting to see, what happens with that. They rather have Jordans and Gucci shoes. I mean, people were dry stunting on quarantine, like, and I kind of checked out of like the vanity cyberspace, so I'm not really big on Instagram or Facebook, but obviously you hear the conversations and you kind of see some of these people on YouTube, and it's like, yeah, I mean, a lot of you people are dry stunting. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you living on government checks. The government don't take care of me. The government don't take care of me and mines. At the end of the day, I take care of me and mines as well as my kid's father. So it's like the government don't take care of me. You know what I mean? Have I had government aid once upon a time in my life? Absolutely. But I feel like government aid is a means to an end. Oh, shoot, I ran into a hard time in my life. I need a little help. But let me tell you something. When I utilized government aid for the spurts that I did, man, I was freaking embarrassed. You know what I mean? I see people using their bridge card like it's a badge of honor and shit. I did not. I was so freaking embarrassed using that thing. It's like, nope, can't do this anymore. I don't want any of these little orange cards. You know what I mean? It's like I want to get it myself. That doesn't make me feel good being a generation of a WIC card or a what do they call it? What is the other card? And WIC is cool. I like WIC. I think WIC is a very, very awesome program. But what is the other one? Bridge card. Yeah, bridge card. I mean, it's like, that it's bridge cards should not be such a rite of in the Black community, but it is. You got generations of bridge card holders and not MasterCard holders. The problem: generational welfare versus generational wealth. You know what I mean? We have a cycle of bad behaviors. And this goes across a lot of at-risk communities. It's like when the government is pushing out stimulus checks and all this free money, and you have nothing to show for that money. You done went out, you done took your PO, they done open shit back up, dropping stimulus. It's like, people really need to start thinking about what their money is doing for them, and right now and in the long term, because it's like if you're getting all this free money, the least you could do is be responsible with that money and take care of your freaking bills. Especially if you're getting free money that's more money than you were making before, you really don't have an excuse. You really don't. And this is another thing I want to point out too, because Democrats refuse to hold their constituents responsible for what they don't do. They crutch onto people. And my thing is, grown ass people need to, really step back and make a decision. How much longer will you allow the Democratic Party to be your parent? Because that's basically what I look at this whole eviction moratorium. It was kind of like the government being your parents. All right, Todd, we're going to hold you down for a couple of months, about a year, and then you're on your own, kid. But Todd don't believe them because they constantly giving Todd free shit when he get emotional, right? Temper tantrum. Oh my God, our constituents, they're temper tantruming because they made poor choices. Want to be accountable for them. Okay, well, let's exploit them, and then we'll throw out like a couple of stimulus, and then they'll be happy. And just for a moment, they'll feel like they have money and they're cool again, and then they're gonna blow it, and then they're gonna be in their state again. It's crazy, but I hope people get that shit. It don't make no damn sense for people to be getting evicted, all this damn free money. And guess what? We're going to be taxed on that shit too. That's what irritates me. I don't give a fuck about these people that's about to get evicted if you were one of these people collecting unemployment. I don't. I really don't. If you've been sitting on your ass for over a year collecting unemployment, I don't feel bad if you weren't smart enough, if you didn't plan for where you were going to stay when you have neglected your responsibility to pay the person that allowed for you to stay in their home as a renter. So, and a lot of landlords, I feel bad because they're taking losses. They're taking losses. The scary thing is, and I'm sorry I don't got my glasses on, hun. The scary thing, things are only getting worse, and people are still sitting on their butts. This printing of money destroying the dollar, and oh man, I don't even have any faith in the value of the dollar. Just because you have the ability to print money doesn't mean that you should. And I think one of America's greatest economists said that, Milton Friedman. It's like, I feel like if we follow the Milton Friedman model of taxes and just the way he looked at the economy, we wouldn't be dealing with all of this bullshit. We have a fiat currency supposedly backed by gold. But when you got China buying up all the damn gold, it's like, my thing is, I really just feel like this is intentional. I feel like they are really intentionally destroying the economy, the values, the morality, and the spirit of this country because they really think that it's time for America to be socialist. We are probably we're like part socialist and we're like part capitalist. But capitalism pretty much rules dominant in the American proper culture because everybody likes the idea of being a capitalist. I got a skill and capability that somebody wants. You know what I mean? I want to be, and they're willing to buy that skill or capability to benefit themselves. Okay, that's free, fair exchange. You know what I mean? Capitalism. Every single person who is anti-capitalist is capitalizing on somebody in some way. Case in point, AOC, right? Go check out her merch store on how she's capitalizing on all these millennials and Gen Zers who are all emotionally in a bunch talking about tax the rich. Tax the rich, right? They got idiots like Cardi B talking about tax the rich, and it's like, Cardi, you are rich. You are rich. You want them to tax you? And this is the stuff that they got people buying into. And so I'm just saying, It's amazing. But I go back to, this is a prime example of why socialism does not work, because it doesn't motivate people to do for themselves. It doesn't motivate people to make logical decisions for themselves. It doesn't motivate people to actually have a plan and a strategy for their life individually or their household, right? Can you imagine Cori Bush is talking about, oh, there's mothers and children? Excuse me, I know a lot of single mothers that work 2, 3 jobs, hustling their asses off to pay somebody else to live in a house that they don't own, but they've been paying their bills this whole damn time, leveraging being a, what do they call them, useful workers or needed workers or whatever. Those workers, right? They were those people, right? Taking care of their foe all the same. Because people who are smart understand that the government will get you comfortable on the shit that they will quickly take away and devastate you in an instant. In an instant. Why would anybody want to be that vulnerable? Like these 6 million people are according to Moody's data, right? These people, these are renters who are about to lose their home. Why would you want to be that damn vulnerable? I don't think these young people understand socialism or what they're asking for. Socialism makes dictators out of the government. Well, we'll be slaves. I mean, a lot of young people, they're looking at free shit from the government. The government is using racism and all kinds of recycled history to re-inflame these people, because we don't have any modern American examples outside of the public lynchings that they love to orchestrate when they want to inflame black people and vulnerable liberal white people. That's what they're using. They're not using anything progressive. They don't want to talk about progressive America. Let them say black people are the dumbest. We're dumber than a sack of diapers. We can't vote. We can't get an ID, but we can go to concerts. We can order tickets. We can do everything else that require ID, but we can't get an ID to vote. Socialism, yeah. I mean, and this is what they're buying into. They want somebody to take care of them because their parents spoiled them too much. Like, I get what's going on. You know, everybody says it. It's like, oh, in my generation, you know, it was this and we were required to do that. In my generation, my parents, you know, they spanked us, they did this or whatever. And you know what happened? You had all these little liberal psychologists and all that stuff. Don't spank your kids. Don't discipline your kids. Let your kids be whatever they want to be. Let them explore. Trying to make it seem like parents are being bad for trying to guide their kids, right? So society, and then, you know, work requirements, you know, people got sucked into working and trying to meet the standards of, you know, a highly inflated economy. It's like, I can see, I can see, you know, kind of what's been going on. More we need more people making better decisions. We need more people making better decisions. We need more parents raising sound kids. You know what I mean? Because an intelligent person is not going to get this much free money. They're not going to get that much free money and not pay their rent. It's nonsensical to me. So, anyways, I didn't want to keep this long, but this is an example of socialism failed. Because that moratorium is expired. And a lot of people are probably running. And I know you know there's a lot of landlords like been waiting for this day. Can you imagine the landlords that's been waiting for this day? Oh, the moratorium is over. Bitch, get the hell out of my stuff. I'm about to serve you. Get that process going. So what's going to probably save people is obviously if they're in the Democratic area, you know, the judges might be a little bit slower on processing the evictions, right? They might do that. The Democrats always got a devilish way to like make people's lives miserable, right? So they might be team landlord because a lot of these landlords are big investment companies. And they might say, okay, enough is enough. It's time for them to be able to get their money. thus hurt the landlords, and most people don't understand it. And that's the thing. Landlords have been hurting, right? If you've been dealing with a tenant for over a year who's been in your property and they have been allowed to be in your property without paying you, think about the loss. I was actually looking at a landlord who had an investment property, and she was hurt. She was hurt because she was like, I did not, nobody could 2020, but then all of that extra stuff were like these moratoriums and this free rent and all this, or I'm sorry, this free money, and people don't got to work, and it's like people literally were being able to be comfortably doing nothing. So I feel bad for the landlords, and I feel like any money that they are going to disperse out at this point in the game, I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the interest of the landlords. It's going to be in the landlords because the tenants have had plenty of money to be able to have good faith payments to their landlords. At least if you couldn't even pay the whole thing, you paid enough to keep that good faith. So when the moratorium ends, hopefully you'll be able to. People have had sufficient time. And that's the thing. If you've been on your ass and not learning something new, shame on you. I mean, if you have been just at home, all these jobs that are out there, shame on you. Shame on you, and you get what you deserve. Learn how to take care of your damn self. Take care of yourself. Take care of your people. You know what I mean? Take care of your family. Take care of yourself. You know what I mean? It's really no in between. And part of doing that is prioritizing your cash flow. So if you're relying on government funds, you need to be budgeting those government funds to be able to make sure that you're taking care of the roof over your head, especially if you don't own it. So, Lord have mercy. 6 million people about to lose their homes. Some of them maybe we're feeling sorry for. Some of them made poor decisions, and they're going to have to suffer the consequences of their poor decisions. So have a good night, morning, everybody. Bye.